Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the WRRAP podcast with me, Lee G. Joining me as per usual, I have Harley. I've got JP and JR this week just to make my life even more difficult. I can't remember whether they're James or Jamie, and now they're just Jay. So, evening, gents.
Good evening.
Evening, how are we?
I'm sure you two coordinate just to try and make life difficult, JP and JR.
It's not
Fucking hell,
fucking
man.
difficult to make your life awkward, mate.
No. But I will say, before we start doing all the normal stuff, big thank you to everyone for sharing my survey stuff last week. I'm actually almost finished with it now. So I got a couple of weeks of stuff to do, and then I can actually focus on doing a podcast and stuff. You boys are delighted, in it. I can tell. I can feel it in the water.
Oh
Right.
no, more you on the podcast. Oh,
Let's
We've got Lee back full time.
let's start with a drink of the week then, shall we? So James, do you want to go first, mate?
cup of tea every one Saturday. So I got a cup of tea and half an Easter egg.
You're not allowed to start you can't start Easter eggs already. That's against the rules.
I've been eating them
man.
since they were in shops. I don't know what
I'm
you're
lucky,
on
mate.
about.
You boys are a disgrace. Good Friday at the very earliest should be Easter Sunday, surely to goodness.
Only if you believe in Jeebus.
I
No.
And I stopped believing in God when I realised it was dog spelled backwards.
Knee off in between as you are.
So go on in, James. Tell us why you're not drinking now and how much of it you had over the weekend, mate.
As finally evidenced on Twitter, I did actually play a game of rugby this weekend. So my team, Bognor Regis, had this final home game of the season. So the first and the seconds played at home. We had a nice little luncheon, said some goodbyes to the staff and alike. Now, I just put it, there are no other Welsh people in the club, apart from me, who rocked up this year in September, and our club president, Leighton, who was a Port Talbot boy. Big Ospreys fan as well. So that's great. So I instantly had a mate. It was me and Leighton, the club president. But yeah, so we played Winchester third team, our sort of league. Top of the table clash. If we won, basically, the league is ours. And we did. We came out a 17-7 win, bit of a dogfight. I played 80 minutes, both sides of the scrum, and picked up the player of the match too, and then got absolutely rat-faced afterwards.
I have to say
that's going to go when you're a dad. Just saying.
Yeah, that's my last one.
You lose that right. Trust me. The amount of wins I've wanted to go for.
In 1 month, I will be a father. So that was my last. That was my last hurrah for a bit.
Wow, that's come around quick, man. So yeah, the photo you sent us on our little WhatsApp. In the middle of us having a conversation about whatever game was on telly, and then there's just a photo of you going like,
that was I got kicked in the side of the head, right? It's only a small cut there now. My face was sort of out here for about 6 hours. I basically had
this is great listening for the audience.
I basically had like an Ian Goff growing out my face or something like that. It was just like a big, massive lump on the side of my head. So I numbed it with beer. I would just like to point out, I was tested for concussion. Didn't have any concussive symptoms, nor do I have concussive symptoms now.
You'd need a brain for that.
Yeah,
he's just always like this.
I am a prop. All I do is run hard at people.
Well done for the weekend, mate. Well done for the weekend. So, Jamie, what have you got, mate? So we should say that the reason you're JP tonight is
because last night I interviewed Jamie Ringer, the former Dragons and Wales flanker. So there were two Jamies on the pod, so I changed my name on Zoom to JP. Because otherwise it just would have got a little bit confusing. But yeah, that pod is out now, by the way. As quoted by Wales Online in their headlines article this evening. Thank you, Wales Online, for the promotion and the link. Much appreciated. Right, in terms of beer, I got something a bit different this week. So this beer is from a brewery called Hive Mind, who are based in Caldicot, which is about 20 minutes away from me, just up the road. And this is called the Pollinator, and it's pollen infused hazy pale beer. So I'll read the wanky bollocks on it. A classic hazy pale infused with real bee pollen. The Pollinator isn't just a beer, it's an ode to the environment, a homage to the vital role played by our winged friends. As you savour each sip, take a moment to reflect on the essential work of the pollinators in our world and their gift to our food chain. So there's basically bee pollen in this beer, and it's very nice too. I must say, I'd probably like to try out some more of their beers. But yeah, that's what I've got, the Hive Mind Pollinator. So cheers to the bees.
That looks proper honey, like, isn't it? Go on in, Harley.
Nice.
How does a bee make pollen, seeing as though it comes from flowers? I'm not blaming. That's not on you, Jamie.
Yeah.
That's on the beer maker. That would piss me off so
That
much.
is a good point.
Yes, that wasn't.
But I'm glad you've actually got a nice beer, because I've gone back to an old favourite.
Go on, and what
So
have you got?
something that James would be quite used to from the weekend: rib tickler. More from the being tackled than the actual cider.
I
but
do the rib tickling, pal. Ain't no
That's not
fuckers
what I
getting through
heard.
me.
Through a mutual friend, I hear that's not the case.
And your phone, shut the fuck up. I will maintain. I will go back. I put Dennis Powis on their ass when I played for Cardiff Saracens.
Oh God, he's off again.
Have
You've
you met
asked
the people
him.
of Dennis Powis? Oh, sorry, no, apart from
yeah,
the Guest on the Dragons pod, I didn't realise he was a Dennis boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Harley, give us your wanky bollocks, mate. Is there anything on there worth reading?
No, not really. I mean, it just basically says Rib Tickler began its life as a cider crushed by professional rugby players to raise vital funds for charity. This legacy continues. Every bottle or pint of Rib Tickler sold helps support the incredible work of the Wooden Spoon charity. Yeah, I'm quite happy to drink lots of this one because it's really nice and tastes like apple juice. So I love a good apple cider. And two, Wooden Spoon's great charity. Played for them earlier this year. Still waiting for my socks because they're lovely. They're like red, green, white stripy socks. Love a bit of stash.
Anyway, so I've got some interesting stories from Caldicot that I will tell you another time, because I played my very first game of senior rugby there when I was 15. I think I was. I got called up to the seniors, which wouldn't happen now. We know. Let's just say that's how long ago it was, and throughout the night, so we had a good night in Caldicot, and then we went to Chepstow, and there was this guy on the piano playing the tinkles and all of that, and people buying in beer and all that kind of stuff, and then we went to a club and all this kind of stuff, and it was about 2:30 in the morning, and we get on the bus, and the guy that was on the piano giving it the tinkles and was fucking necking it, driver. So we travelled from Chepstow the length of the M4. We had to stop twice. We stopped in Pont Abraham, which at the time was 24 hours. The driver fell asleep in Pont Abraham. So we had to wake the driver up again to get us back to Pembroke Dock. So yeah, some of the boys had fights. Some of the boys nearly ended up in police cells. And I was 15. That was my very first game. So Caldicot holds a lot of fond memories for me.
That sounds fun.
Anyway, what beer have you got?
Yeah, beer. Yeah, so I've got a beer called Timothy Taylor's Landlord, which is an English beer, but from Keighley. Taylor's taste is cheap by using the finest natural ingredients, our unique Knoll spring water, the highest grade golden promise malted barley, whole leaf hops on our own Taylor's taste yeast. Wanky bollocks at its best. Yep. Right, okay. Let's move on to News Desk, because there's a fair bit of stuff on News Desk this week, James. So all yours, my friend.
Okie dokie. So let's kick off then with the news that broke last week. So Nicky Smith has signed for Leicester. The 29-year-old will join the Tigers next season, having exercised a clause in his Ospreys contract to leave. Now, Smith does have 46 Wales caps, so he is still eligible for Wales if they stop ignoring him. So, yeah, good move for it. Now, James, I know you have spoken about this on your Ospreys pod, but just briefly, how big a loss is this for the Ospreys?
Just look at the scrum on Friday before Nicky went off. Just look at that. He demolishes, and Lee's smiling because he knows he does it illegally. But he is Wales's best scrummager, Lou said. You know, we all said in the pod on Wednesday. I remember him coming through 2013, and then sort of that 2014, 2015 season, he properly broke through, and Australia had a lot of injuries in that area, and he's gone on to become, arguably one of the best scrummagers in the UK. In British rugby, one of the best scrummagers, loose heads. When he burst onto the scene, he was known for his carrying. Anyone who's bowled the game, his ABCs, his agility before contact. Lovely step on him, but his scrummaging is just ridiculous. And he'll go to Leicester. He'll stay there for a couple. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires there. If the way he's going with Gatland, he could play 100+ games for Leicester. I'm gutted. I genuinely am. I hope it's like a Paul James situation. He comes back and finishes his career, because there's no bloke more deserving to be in the 200 club for the Ospreys than Nicky Smith.
Yeah.
And he's a bloke who loves the region, loves Swansea. And I just wish him all the best. And URC scrums are now safer for it.
Well, why do you think he's never really settled in the national team then? Because there's been various opportunities for him to do it, and he's never broken through, has he?
Yeah, and it's difficult to say when someone's got 46 caps, right? Why have they never been a mainstay in it? Because you die to have 10 caps. So when you say 46 caps over a 10-year career, that's not terrible, but is it what Gatland's looked for in his props? Who was in that one shirt for ages? We know he likes Rob Evans, and prime Rob Evans is a great player. Wyn Jones was great. So I think he's just been unlucky with the props in front of him. Look, as an Ospreys fan, of course, I'm going to be biased and say that he should have been ahead of certain players. And especially these last few years, he's been so dominant, yet other props have been selected ahead of him for seemingly no reason. And it's you could argue, I'm not a Rhys Carre fan, and it's well documented, but I can still see why Rhys Carre would be included. But there's been nothing publicly to say why Nicky Smith's face doesn't fit in that system. Harley makes a great point every week about Jonathan Humphrey saying he wants to be a pushing contest. Doesn't need to be a pushing contest. It needs to be, I'm going to make you give away 3-4 penalties in a game contest and look to get you sin bin type thing. So, but his face didn't fit. He's got 46 caps, so the door's still open for Wales, but it's a loss for the Ospreys. Unfortunately, we just couldn't compete with.
Yeah, fair enough. He should have had more than 46 caps. I mean, it's not bad going, but I've said many times, though, it's been criminal, actually, the way he's been constantly ignored, because he is Wales's best scrummager, who said, I cannot understand for the life of me why the Wales management have kept ignoring him. But it's a shame, isn't it? But good luck to him, I suppose. But it is another quality player leaving Welsh rugby, isn't it? Anyway, staying with the Ospreys, Wales Online. They are reporting that the Ospreys have won the race to sign Wales scrum half Kieran Hardy from the Scarlets. Apparently, Hardy had interest from Cardiff and clubs in the English Premiership, but the 28-year-old is set to sign for the Ospreys. What do you think of that, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, we were told back in kind of January, December, January, that he signed for Cardiff, and it was, we were just waiting for announcement sort of a thing. So something's gone wrong somewhere, so there's been a change of heart, a change of mind or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I've said many times, we see the best of Hardy at international and not necessarily with the Scarlets. I think he'll fit in quite well with the Ospreys. The idea of kicking, not necessarily let's pass the ball necessarily as much, and it is about the kick chase, and that's the strength of his game. He's a decent enough player. It won't be a loss to the Scarlets, in all honesty, because he's never been, the Scarlets' number one scrum half. And I think if he stayed next year, if Gareth Davis retires or Gareth Davis takes a little jaunt out to Japan or whatever it is, I don't even think Hardy would be number one then. I think the boys that are coming through would oust him fairly quickly, just because it doesn't suit the way the Scarlets play. So it's not a surprise to see him go, in all honesty. I am surprised as Ospreys, but I totally get why. He doesn't have to move house for one. He can stay where he is. So
worth noting as well.
Probably works better as well.
It's worth noting as well. He's cousins with Luke Davis at the Ospreys. So Davis, okay. I'm pretty sure he's their cousin. So Luke Davis is only 21, I think. So, and if the other Osprey transfer rumor that was heavily linked from the Scarlets happens, he'll be joining his cousin as well. So, quite frankly, Toby Booth is building a familial army of just West Wales rejects.
What happened to we only develop our own then, James? What happened to Toby Booth's baby army?
We're just picking up from our sub academy, mate.
Booth's babies Booth's babies are well and truly in the pan at the minute, mate.
I'm just looking to see how many. I'm trying to see how many caps for Scarlets Hardy has.
I think he's got more for Wales. I suppose in his early days he did play a fair few, come off the bench and what have you. So anyway,
how many do you reckon he's got for Scarlets?
He must have high 80, surely at least.
No, I'd say it's about 100.
93.
Yeah. Which, it'd be interesting to see how many of them are off the bench as cover, because he covered.
He started 39 of them.
Yeah, which is not and probably given the opportunity to be number one at Ospreys, can't blame him.
What I will say,
I think he'll struggle to get past Ruben Morgan-Williams.
What I will say on the Hardy one is, it's not a signing that's going to set the world on fire, right? But it fits into exactly what we need. In terms of, we need a competent 9. He's not young. He's got game experience. He's got test level experience. He's got a great kick on him. He can play at tempo. We've seen with the quick penalties. He's got good rugby IQ. He's exactly what Booth wants in a scrum half. And he's essentially a bit like, he's a younger Aled Davis. He's very much in that Aled Davis mould, I think. And if he was younger and cheaper, I think we'd be looking at Aled Davis instead, because he's coming to the tail end of his contract at Sarries. In fact, he's out of contract this year. So it's a shrewd signing, because it just means we have 3. If all is to believe, we'll have 3 the senior 9s all vying for starting spot, and then young Rodri Lewis, who's impressed with the under 20s, as that fourth choice. So yeah, I don't hate it at all.
Although I will say, earlier in the season, when Hardy was included in the Wales squad, I seem to remember quite a few Ospreys fans, yourself included, not being very complimentary about him, James. So
because he plays for Scarlets. As soon as he plays for Ospreys, mate, he'd be like,
exactly.
It's perfectly fine then.
Yeah.
Remember what he said about James Ratty last season?
Yeah, exactly.
I did.
What a bunch
of
arseholes.
I did enjoy James Ratty this week, just basically saying, I fucking love him being back in Swansea. I hated Cardiff. I'm with my mates now.
Yeah, we never liked him anyway.
You messaged me earlier.
Anything else then, Jamie, to add to the news desk?
So in other news, Dragons have signed a prop that can actually scrummage. So we have signed former Ospreys and Cardiff tighthead Dimitri Arhip on a short-term deal. The 35-year-old Moldovan has been without the club this season since his time at Cardiff was brought to an end by a quite nasty Achilles injury back in February 2023. So Dragons are short on tight end props at the moment. Lloyd Fairbrother is out. We don't know when he'll return. Leon Brown is obviously injured. No news on when he'll return. And Nathan Evans is out at the moment. Our only fit tight ends are Chris Coleman, who can't scrummage, and Luke Yenter, who can, but he's a little bit raw. So it makes perfect sense. I think it's a very shrewd signing by the Dragons. And I saw comments from Dave Flanagan today saying if he goes well, then there is scope to make that move permanent. So I expect him to play against Zebra this weekend and see how we go on. Yeah, but I think that's a pretty shrewd pick up there by the Dragons. And then finally, just the last bit of news then. Georgia have called out Wales. They challenged them to a test match in Tbilisi. So they put out a tweet on X saying, following widespread debate across the rugby world after the conclusion of the Six Nations and Rugby Europe, the Georgia Rugby Union is inviting Welsh Rugby Union to play an autumn international fixture. There is a wonderful bond between the players and supporters of our two proud rugby nations, and we have had some great competitive matches. It is our honour to invite Wales to Tbilisi and to play a return game in Cardiff whenever is convenient. And it got a lot of buzz and traction on Twitter. People were losing their minds about this, despite the fact that we played them in the World Cup and put 43 points on them. But apparently this is the match that everybody wants to see. But the Welsh Rugby Union did reply from their X account and they said, we'll be in touch. So, yeah, from a PR point of view, it was pretty clever what Georgia were doing, but it's pretty cynical, isn't it, what they're up to? We all know that they want to play this match because it puts pressure on the Six Nations organisers to force that debate about promotion relegation. I know exactly what the Georgians are up to there. What did you lads think of it? Do you think it's a bit of fun or do you think there's a bit of games going on there?
Oh, it's definitely games. It's definitely gamesmanship,
Yeah.
but it can still be funny as well. But remember, like the two times we've played a proper full team against them, we've put 43 points on them both times, which is both World Cup matches in 2019 and last year. However, when we've not really put our all into it, we had the whole issue like 13-6. Do you remember that really horrible game where like Liam Brown was injured and everyone was like, "Oh, is he just pulling it? Is he pulling a hammy?" I remember being in that game and he had done his ham. Like you'd see him and he tried to get up and he just sort of fell it back into the seats.
Yeah,
which in itself was quite funny. Yeah, but like Autumn Nations Cup 18-0 in possibly the worst game, one of the worst games of rugby that didn't involve Cardiff and Dragons. Remember, it's that one Autumn Nations game where Pivac spent the whole week leading up to it talking about Australia the next week. The one time they won is when we basically didn't try. The problem is now we've got a really shit team, so actually it should be a good game.
I think it's interesting in the sense that, obviously this year's autumn internationals are locked in, and then from next year we go to the League of Nations or whatever it's called. So everything kind of changes anyway. So
I don't think it is next year. Is it the
WRRAP? It was next year. I thought it was next
season.
Next year's Lions tour, so it's the WRRAP. They're not doing the Lions tours.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So either way, it's locked in that we're not kind of playing them unless it's a joke match for whatever reason. I mean, it'll probably be played when there's a Scarlet Ospreys derby to be played.
That'll be silly. It'll be Scarlet's Cardiff. It's always on Scarlet.
It's always
Cardiff
yeah. So yeah, I can't blame them for calling it out because they want to progress. They're on a bit of a wave at the minute, and in all honesty, yeah, I think having something at the end of the Six Nations where there's a like a playoff thing with the winner of the league below and the bottom of the Six Nations have a playoff. Yeah, I think that's actually quite a good call. It would add interest. How you fit it into the rugby season, I don't know, but I think it's a genuine call to be made. I think the issue is these things get planned so far in advance. As soon as next year's Six Nations fixtures are all locked in, tickets are being sold, hospitality is being sold. If you then start fucking around with that, then the money men get unhappy, and that's where the issue is. So, but in principle, I quite like to see it. I quite like to see relegation and promotion, a promotion playoff, or whatever it is. I'd quite like it.
It's not going to happen, though, is it? Because
No.
this is a tournament that's run
Absolutely.
by the unions, right? So let's just say, for example, it did happen. Wales finished last. They get relegated into Rugby Europe. Welsh Rugby would be in financial ruin. And no union is going to vote for that. No union is going to vote to lose all that money from revenue and TV rights and everything else. So it's a non-goal. It'll never happen. It'll never, ever happen because no union will vote for it.
Also, I'm pretty sure contractually they cannot be taken out of the Six Nations because of TV deals. And that's what the Italy thing is, because the market in Rome is so big and that TV market is so vast just for that set of Rome games. Is they financially, not just Welsh Rugby Union would crumble, is the actual Six Nations brand would crumble, because yes, they would have the bounce from the Georgian Tbilisi market, but that's not going to be sustained. So look, I'm not. I am very much on the fence about relegation playoff stuff. Right, two of the best games I ever watched, I'm trying to remember the year, were the Bristol versus Worcester was that playoff game or whatever it was, the automatic promotion game in the Championship to go up to the Gallagher Premiership. Them two legs were two of the best games of rugby I've ever seen, right? The third best was Swansea University versus Nottingham Trent University a few years ago, for them to go up to the Bucks Super League. Right? But playoff games add jeopardy, I get it. But it doesn't make sense in a historic competition, the Six Nations, or which was the Five Nations, which they added Italy. It's not, I don't think it's a case of playoff. I think it's a case of, do we have a genuine, serious conversation about adding Georgia or adding someone else, rather than let's kick the Welsh out because actually we're just harbouring xenophobic thoughts about our Celtic neighbours. No one, as Harley pointed out the other day, no one's ever said this shit with Italy when Scotland will get the women's paper. No one's ever said let's get rid of Scotland. That's my take on it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I just want to go back on the commercial thing, because speaking of so every Six Nations we either have 3 or 2 home games. If we go down to the Rugby Europe Championship, even though it's the same number of rounds, the semi-finals are done in a neutral venue, and the final is, like this year they did it in Stade de France. So you only get 2 or 1 home games. On a union that is basically, trying to throw in as many internationals as it is anyway, that would cripple us, because that's, we would be down to 2 regions in no time at all if that happened. Because they'd say, oh no, we've lost 6 million quid, right? Merge the Ospreys and Scarlets, kill the Dragons.
But
Cardiff,
think how many
you go off into a thing, and we'll just have the women's team.
Think how many Taylor Swift concerts we could have at the Millennium Stadium then, though. We wouldn't. The Millennium Stadium would be available.
It means I can get a ticket.
Anyway, James, let's move on, mate.
That's it. That's all the news I have for this week.
Okay, right, no problems. Well, normally at this point, James would do his beef and banter, but seeing as he's kind of still hung over from his try celebration on the weekend, we're going to give James a week off and allow him to stoke his anger once again. Plus, he barely watched any rugby this weekend because he was half cut.
Tom Shanklin and Sean Holly talking about sausage rolls. There we are. That's fucking beef. Shit. Actually, tell you where's my beef is Robbie Owen, right? Jammy went to visit the Ospreys last week. He had a great time. He filmed some really good videos. Had a really good sit-down 10-minute conversation with Toby Booth. Then went to the actual game on Friday, got the tour and the changing room pre-match. The only saving graces, Robbie's been to the stadium twice in like 2 years now, both against defending champions of their respective leagues, and we've lost. So it's karma, if I'm honest.
But on the plus side, you've at least been trained by Justin Tipperick.
Oh yeah, do you like that story?
I loved it.
Mhm.
I'll be honest, as much as I love Dolly, I mean, Phil Dolman and Justin Tipperick, it's two very different
Phil Dolman.
Welsh players, isn't it?
So the bit I liked about it, James, was the difference between a fan and a supporter.
Mm.
So I quite like that. With
Genuinely, I used that in school today. It's the difference between a fan and supporter. You wouldn't hear Dwayne Peel come out. He'd get that wrong.
You wouldn't hear Dwayne Peel, mate. He'd be sitting there going like, right. Let's move on to the games from last week. Then let's start on Friday night with Glasgow and Cardiff. So let's start with the first half then, Harley. Let's do the first half first, and then you can let loose on the second half.
I'll talk about it all in one go, to be honest, because I think actually it sort of parallels across. And this is a game I definitely did not have on in the car driving. That's something that needs to be told. I definitely was not sort of occasionally glancing to see Reece Carey sort of trundle up from a metre out. So first of all, yay Cardiff, we've restored pride with another losing bonus point. There you go. I've said the line, James. You can switch off now.
You let the boys.
For your audio listeners, James has turned off his camera. Yeah, so I mean, the first side this season to take a losing bonus point from Scotland, so that's something. You know, it shows we're sort of there up against the bigger teams, but I mean, we're still not winning, so it doesn't really help. Some very good carry, Mackenzie Martin for his 52 minutes, he made 35 meters with 10 carries, which is like 3.5 meters of carry, which is decent. Made 14 tackles out of the 15 attempted. Teddy Williams comes straight back off after spending so much time being furious at holding tackle bags, decided to treat Glasgow players like tackle bags, and pulled off 30 out of 32 attempts, including a couple of dominant shots. The try we scored, typical trundling up is Reece Carey at his finest. Powering through the line, then Thomas goes over. But the thing I'm annoyed a bit about is we got held up twice and pushed into touch twice more because players weren't thinking, all right, what's the best play? Let's go through. And it's that sort of, I think that's the sign of where we are mentally as a team, where we're so desperate to get those points. But I mean, fantastic defensive effort against Glasgow, keeping the 17 points, basically nullified them all. I mean, yeah, he was actually I know James uses pride as a cliche, but actually it was at least a very promising performance because you could see something go from there. But it's another scoreless half, and and you may have noticed the theme of scoreless halves. This is what happens when you fill the Wales team with a load of Cardiff players. We get scoreless halves at rugby, but we're all very proud of it.
Do you want to hear my expertly prepared notes on this game?
On this game, you definitely didn't.
Yeah,
you definitely did watch, despite Ospreys playing at the same time.
I definitely watched this. The Blues scored a lovely try, and their defence is starting to improve. They made a ton of tackles. Go, Tedward Williams. Your pack is still lightweight, though. Hashtag, what year is it?
The pack was actually that lightweight, to be fair.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I know, but I was just saying that was a bit mean.
What was the weather like up there? Because I saw clips of it.
Fucking dreadful.
I thought it was.
Pissing with rain and blowing early.
Yeah, and you just think. I mean, Glasgow's a plastic pitch as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the pitch is fine, but it just the clips that I saw. Just everything looked like it was wind affected. That's what it looked like. It looked like it was bloody horrendous and cold and wet and windy, and yeah, just nothing seemed to not nothing, but all the key bits didn't seem to work.
This is a part of the problem. We didn't make the most of the wind in the first half. So obviously we had the wind assistance in the first half and didn't work. I mean, Tina Stabia had an option for had to go at a penalty. Nearly made drifted wide. That's with the amount of wind about you. It was just a bit annoying that was the only shot we really fired.
Did Evan Lloyd play?
Weirdly, no. It was Evan. It was the other Evan on the bench, who had a very good game.
Ironic.
Actually, no. Just double check because I think he might have been late.
He's closed.
Oh dear! Right.
I don't know why you're arguing this one with me. We agree.
It's funny to see. I like making the squid.
Right. Let's.
But I'll tell you who was very good. Ben Thomas.
Yes, because Wes Online said so. Yes.
Oh, he was very good before that. Ignore him. Ignore them. He forgot he existed. Stephen Thomas forgot he existed when he was doing a podcast a while back, talking all about all the promising centres, and then didn't mention Ben Thomas.
Yeah.
It was like, you're saying that you need a kicking 12. He is kicking 12 in Wales.
Yeah, to me, he just seems small, and I think this is our problem. Is
I think that's in your head because he definitely was.
Yeah.
But if you watch him play now, he is busting through a lot more, and he is a bit bigger.
Yeah, and it is easy to.
I think JP wants to.
JP sounds very South African, doesn't it? Go on, Jamie.
Yeah.
JP Cronje, that's my new Twitter handle now. That's what I'm going to call myself. Just to say, there was a theme this week in Welsh rugby. Scrum halves kicking the ball away, dead, in bloody when the clock was up. So
yeah,
I was flicking through the Ospreys and Cardiff game because I watched some of the Ospreys and Munster pulled away and I lost interest. So I flicked over to the Glasgow Cardiff game. They had a penalty. They're only a couple of points behind. And they won a scrum and then they kept going. They thought, right, if Cardiff keep the ball in hand here now, go through some phases, they can nick this now. And then it's better get the ball out. Like, what are you doing? And then in the Wales women game, which I've only seen the highlights of it, I didn't see the full game. It was the same thing. Kicking the ball dead when the clock was in the red, when Wales had a chance to win.
What happened in that
Sean Jones, I think it was, and just kicked it out dead. I just couldn't understand. It seemed to be a weird theme this weekend of Welsh rugby. Scrum halves.
Didn't Dane Blacker do it in the Dragons game as well? They were looking to.
Which one?
They were looking to. I'm sure I saw there was a bit where in the Dragons were attacking and they were towards the end of the game and they were going for a counter attack, and Blacker just boots it out on the floor.
No, I don't remember that because the Bulls had the last play of the game.
But it's funny you mentioned that kick. We're saving that one because we've got a new presenter on the Cardiff pod, and he very much wants to talk about that kick.
I think I know.
So I'm saving that.
I think I know who that is already.
Yeah.
It was just really strange. I just wonder, is it just a lack of game management, or was it that they didn't know that the time was up? But for the two scrum halves to do it like that, the same weekend, was just strange.
Well, hang on, which Bevan am I on about now?
It was Sean.
Oh, yeah. But,
Sean Jones.
In fairness to Bevan, Ellis, Cardiff were getting knocked backwards quite a lot. So basically, we're just the way things are going, we're going to get turned over, and then we might lose our losing bonus point. But there was a lot of space on that wing, and you'd think Mason Grady's there, he might be able to beat. It's a bit of a shot to nothing. But yeah, it's a bit of a pay. I'm more annoyed about us not taking the chances earlier. So a couple of times being held up or Rhys Carey letting himself be pushed into touch because he's trying to go for the screw you, Gatland. Look at me. Look how fit I am.
How many losing bonus points have you got now, Alan?
Like all 6? Of them. All losing bonus points. I think Leinster. What's it? Other than the Leinster, so we've played 12 games now. Yeah, 12 games. Yeah. We've won 3. So 8 losing bonus points.
Which is actually the difference between
it's 2 wins.
Yeah.
We've got that and a draw is the difference between us and you, and the reason why we're only 7 points behind the Ospreys, if that.
Yeah.
You are 7 points behind you.
But 2 of those losing bonus points came against us. If we could somehow have to play
against the Scarlets again, we'd be even further ahead.
Apparently they mentioned that a lot.
Let's move on to the Ospreys game quickly, shall we? So, James, were you in one piece for? Yeah, because it was Friday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Friday night. It was fine. Yeah, it's a frustrating game. Like you can't go 19-0 down in that short time, and you give yourself a mountain to climb there. It's sod's law, isn't it? We've been saying all season we need to play wide, get our wingers in the game, do this. 2 times try and play wide, but intercept the ball. And Munster just had literally had the bounce of the ball. If you saw that try Sean O'Brien scored, how it doesn't go out.
Yeah, how did that stay in?
Justin Tipuric, it slips off his fingers, and Owen Williams he misses it. So look, and Tony Booth has said before, you make your own luck, right? And Munster did that. I have no qualms with the way we lost. I just genuinely think someone smashed a mirror or something in the stadium, because the amount of shit black we had that game. Statistically, you could argue it was the best performance of the season. Barring Snyman, we outperformed their pack. Scrummed them off the park. Lineouts are pretty much identical. We got the driving maul going. Cuthbert looked hungry. Kieran Williams looked hungry. Boshoff and Rudolph were great again. I thought when Jack Walsh came on at half time, he changed the game. Yeah, so we did really well to get back up to 3 tries. And then Cameron Jones makes a break. We're in the 2-1-1. Gives it to Cuthbert, and his hamstring pops.
Oh, I felt so sorry for him. That was horrible, wasn't it? Really feel for the guy.
Yeah, and I absolutely that's 2 points there.
Yeah.
So that's 2 points. We would have been on with 32 points. Basically meant that, no offense to Cardiff, but I think Cardiff would be out of the running of catching us after that. And it just puts us in a slightly better spot now, because we're in 11th on 30 points. There still is only 5 points for us in 5th, but where does our next win? Realistically, if we want to have any chance of making the playoffs, we have to beat Lions with a bonus point and deny them anything.
Just one point I wanted to add to for James, when he said, it was when the Ospreys tried playing wide. All right. I got told off for criticising the Ospreys a couple of weeks ago, and it was because they started playing wide and they didn't stop playing what has let them win these games. And it is playing tight forward rugby. So I just don't get why they're giving in the pressure and wanting to play Jouet when it doesn't work for them.
Well, they keep making
their best place is kick and clap and scrum people off the park. It works.
But they keep talking about the point I was going to ask James is about the attendance, but they keep talking about we want to play entertaining rugby, we want to play exciting, wild, exciting, edge of your seat rugby and all that kind of stuff. And when they do, they fuck it up. So, like you say, yeah, stick with the winning stuff and let the marketing team work on a different marketing strategy.
It's a shame, though. That attendance is a shame, because, to be fair to the Ospreys, they do deserve more support, because they are the only Welsh team that's properly pushing for the playoffs. They are the only Welsh team that's still currently in Europe. I think they deserve far more support than they're getting at the Swansea.com, and it is worrying, these crowd figures. And I just wonder, does it get to a point where they say, well, actually, we can't have this stadium now because we're not getting the support? There needs to be crowd support in order to push this this move for a new stadium. If you're only getting sub 4,000 crowds, it's a shame, because like I said, I think they deserve more. The Ospreys.
I mean, was it there's 1,000 more people at Rodney Parade, or near enough 1,000 more people at Rodney Parade?
The official attendance was 4,600 odd something, but I can tell you now, I haven't been there myself, there was not 4,000 people there. That's just the official attendance, which, as we know, includes season ticket holders. But yeah. But it doesn't look so bad, does it? That's the difference. 2,500, 3,000 people at Rodney Parade actually looks okay, because it's only an 8,500 seater stadium. When you got less than 4,000 at the Swansea.com, which is 20 odd plus thousand, it's not such a good look. There's a lot of empty seats. And like I said, it's a shame, because I think they're playing good rugby at the moment. They're playing winning rugby. They deserve to have a bigger support base there.
It's like how Big Cap looks when they've had the under-20s and the Wales women there. It's I mean, they do it because they just pack everyone onto the one side, and then they open south.
But
Yes, I agree. They definitely deserve more support, especially as you could argue they are the only true region
Oh,
as a lot of their marketing goes, because they're the only one where you've had clubs moving. Let's be fair. I know you want to argue differently, but Scarlets are basically an athlete with extras. They've just cherry picked the best bits from around. I know it grinds your gears, but it's what happened. Cardiff just never pretended otherwise,
yeah, but just
and then Dragons sort of tried,
James
but
has come.
never really
But
helped.
I don't think you can blame that on. I don't think you can blame poor attendance on that. I think it's from what I've seen from social media over the weekend. People are only happy when they're miserable, and so even when you've got entertaining sides playing entertaining rugby, you're making the effort to play entertaining rugby. Some of them still won't turn up, and so let's get James's opinion now that he's back with us.
You're not going to ask me about the attendance here.
Okay,
That's
moving on.
exactly what he's going to do.
Moving on to the
Right.
Scarlets game.
No,
then.
right. Okay,
I
attendance.
suppose you didn't want to leave this one last, so you could have a good run on it.
No, we were genuinely saying, James, that why are people not turning up for the Ospreys? For all the teams that they should be turning up for, it's the Ospreys. Why are they not turning up?
I do think a lot
Not
of
enough
it
pride.
is, yeah, not enough pride. More photos in circles, please. Look, I having spoke with Lance about this, it's a myriad of different reasons, right? And bad blood, whatever stadium, whatever location, whatever time of kickoffs, right? There are lots of things. A new stadium, I think, genuinely would improve attendance, right? Especially, you redevelop one of the. At this point, it's looking like St Helens or Bridgend. And actually, I think we might even find out this week. Unfortunately, right, I don't have the answer for why there's such low attendance, right? Because the facts are there, we're winning, or we have been winning, for the best Welsh region this year. There's so many. And look, I wish I could be down there every week. I genuinely do, and I miss being down there every week. Right? I would have made it 3,498. And it is what it is, and it has to. Welsh rugby is at rock bottom at the minute. Let's not forget that as well. And that was a knock-on effect in your game as well, Lee. Your attendance was low, and you had a better kickoff than us as well.
It was low by our standards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it was still a shitload better than yours, but it was low by our standards.
Yeah, and if I'm honest, the figure you put, even I looked at the photos around the stadium, and I was like, all right, but that's by the by. For your standards, right? It's low. But let's not get away from that. Jamie, I don't know what your attendance was at Rugby Parade.
It was 4,697. But like I was just saying then, I was there on Saturday night and there was not 4,000 odd people there. So that's just the official attendance.
Let's not take that out of the equation as well. So Welsh rugby interest right now is at an all-time low.
Oh yeah, it's affecting all our teams. Cardiff have had good attendances, especially when they played Anglo.
Because they're all proud of them.
Fixtures.
Same as marketing and things like student deals and stuff.
It's absolutely marketing. But we've and look, Ospreys have done everything to try it. They've lowered the ticket prices. They've done the student deals. I took advantage of the student deals, right? Yeah, they were great. Right, there is only so much you can do. Right, and the harsh reality for Ospreys fans is that we have to start turning up, right?
Yeah.
We're in this stadium now for another year at minimum, right? Let's ignore the cutting down of process, right? Because it won't happen because we're in a contractual agreement until 2026. Right? So Ospreys are in the Swansea.com stadium for the 24-25 season, barring a few games, right? Then they move to wherever. The fans have to turn up. You can't. that's why they've been really coy with their season ticket, right? So you buy a season ticket for next year, you have first dibs on ones at the new stadium because they know there will be a new bounce, right? There will be a bounce of fans wanting to be part of that new thing because 3,497, right, is shit. But if you had that, say, call it 4K, right, in a stadium that's 6,000, which is what they're aiming for, right? It's quoting Lance Bradley. It's a hell of a lot better, isn't it? It sounds a lot better. It's still not great, right? But 4,000 in a 22,000 seater stadium plus corporate.
But if you're in a 6,000 seater stadium, yeah, you can't hold European fixtures in there.
No. So I did some digging on this years ago, right? And when the original plans for St Helens came out was you would have you can only do its European quarterfinals and on. So for that, for what my conversations with other people are, is that they would hold that in the Swansea.com stadium because you have to. That it's not a case of, we'll find a way and put 7,000 additional seats in there. You have to hold it in a stadium.
Yeah.
That holds a certain amount. So that I don't think that's ever an issue. But I know what you mean in terms of, because it's the same with Edinburgh and Glasgow, isn't it? Anytime they have to play European quarterfinal, they have to play in Murrayfield because that's the only stadium that's big enough. So yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's not something that hasn't dawned on me either.
Go on, Harley. You were going to say something.
Yeah, just so I was just doing some number crunching on the attendances, and to be honest, we're all down. We're all down.
It can't have no one at the stadium on this weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely no one. It's just, well, actually, no, we had 6,000 people, but for a different game. But yeah, so these are the averages so far. So Cardiff, 8,940, which actually, to be honest, for a capital city is pretty shit. When you think like Leinster, whatever trickery they go through, actually they get loads more. You get even Saracens probably are slightly more on that. Dragons 4,940, which actually in this size stadium actually is nice. It's about half capacity. Ospreys get 5,000, so they actually get more than Dragons, and then Scarlets on 7,000. But we're all lower. I don't know if that's just because particularly Dragons and Ospreys, they've got a derby left, and I can't remember if so. The stats site I use, so Cardiff RC fans, they I can't remember if they exclude or they include the Judgment Day fixture, which can, once that happens, it does bump the averages up a bit.
Yeah,
but we're all
okay. Let's yeah, I think
it's interesting that this we had a huge bump after lockdown, and now they've all sort of, and they're all dropping at slightly different rates as well.
You want what you can't have.
Yeah, we need another lockdown.
No, that's not serious. Bring back the rainbow cap.
Oh fuck! Here we go.
Oh yes, please. I'd love to see Benetton regain.
Let's talk Scarlets Benetton before James.
No, let's talk attendances more.
How about let's do Dragons and then we can all log off. And then Lee can just carry on about the Scarlets all the way into the Fever Pod.
I tell you what.
Get yours out of the way. Chronological orderly.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I am gonna say let's do Dragons and Bulls for about 3 minutes, maybe. So let's do Dragons and Bulls, and we'll come back and do Scarlets in a minute. So what did you make of that game, Jamie?
Well, we have discussed this on the Dragons Layer pod, so I will be kind of repeating some stuff. But I actually thought it was a good effort by the Dragons, all things considered. Bulls are second in the URC. They're pushing for the title. They're many people's favourites to win. And considering where they are and considering where the Dragons are, which is rock bottom, I actually think it was a decent performance. I'll get the negatives out of the way first. So the Dragons' attack is still lacking a cutting edge. There's a lack of accuracy in the opponent's 22. I'm still not entirely convinced by Matt O'Brien as our attack coach. But our attack is letting us down, I think. So that needs to be sharpened up. And then the 2 yellow cards. Will Reed, yellow carded for kicking the ball out to the Bull scrum half's hands. You can't do stuff like that. I mean, you might be able to get away with it playing for Newport RFC in the Welsh Premiership, but you can't do that sort of thing in the URC. So I think Will needs to wise up a little bit, because I think some of his decision making lately has been quite poor. So that was pretty needless. That led to a try. And then Elliot D, he had a yellow card in the second half for slapping the ball out of the scrum half's hands, which is a shame, because Elliot actually had a very good game. So he came on early for Brodie Coughlin. He picked up a knock. Elliot played really well. He took his Wales form into the Dragons. And apart from that silly yellow card, he actually had a really good game. But of course, that's what led to their bonus point try at the end. And so it was two very needless yellow cards. So yeah, that was quite disappointing. So look, I'm going to have to do something I don't like doing. I'm going to have to talk about the officiating. Now, as you know, I don't normally like talking about this on WRRAP. I don't do it on Dragons. And anyone who follows me on X, I am not that kind of guy who constantly criticise referees, because I don't like it myself. However, I am going to have to call out the officiating, because on Saturday I thought it was quite poor. And I think Dragons had a lot of calls, very harsh calls go against them. And Steph Hughes was pretty upset after the game, and Di Flanagan was also very unhappy. And Planning Rugby did a clickbait article about Di Flanagan's comments, where he said he was, well, where's it to now? Oh yeah, Di Flanagan had a spectacular rant after the game about the officiating. Now, anyone who saw Di Flanagan's interview on S4C will know that is completely untrue. It was anything but a spectacular rant. He was clearly unhappy, and rightly so, but it was not a spectacular rant. So a bit of clickbait going on for Planet Rugby. But the biggest talking point in that game was that Willie LaRue knock on. So Willie LaRue knocks the ball on. He was nowhere near catching that ball. It happened. It was a critical point in the game. The score was 17-3. We were attacking in 22. 8 minutes to go. It was deliberate knocked off for Willie LaRue. And nothing was given. It wasn't looked at by the TMO. The referee played advantage. Dragons went through a couple of phases. Then, for some reason, he pulled advantage over. The Bulls then turned over the ball, and then that was it. And Steph Hughes was pleading with the ref to go back and review it, and he didn't do it. And that's really disappointing. I know that's what Di Flanagan was upset with, and I thought it was a terrible decision not to even look at that, because, like I said, Willie LaRue was nowhere near catching that ball. He made no attempt whatsoever. So I was pretty miffed about that. And like Gav said on the pod last night, some of the scrummaging, their tight end was not driving straight. There was a couple of scrums in front of me. You could see he was boring in at an angle. I just felt that the referee was reffing on reputation. I just don't think he gave Dragons many fair calls in that game. So I thought Johan Cross, who was the referee, was had a poor game. But I mean, I'm not blaming the referee for Dragons losing, by the way. Dragons were second best throughout that game. I'm not saying that, but it's just standard URC refereeing, isn't it? It's very poor officiating in this league, and it's such a shame. But yeah, that's my gripes from that game. But in terms of the positives, I have to say I was really pleased with the physicality of the Dragons. We did front up quite a lot against a massive Bulls pack. And that did please me. I think the 6-2 bench split worked well. We did cope with their power, I thought, pretty reasonably. I loved seeing Rodri Williams pick a fight with 220-stone props. I loved that. And he more than held his own, to be fair. I know some South African rugby Twitters are saying Rodri shit himself and he backed off. No, he did not. He did not. He stood up to him. So, yeah, nice bit of shit down for Rodri. I enjoyed that. Good to see Ben Carter back. He's bulked up. Di Flanagan said...
I did see a photo of him. He looked big.
Yeah, Di Flanagan said he's been doing a lot of gym work in his rehab, and he does look a lot bigger. Just like I said, it's nice to see him back.
Cardiff will be a good game. Checkbook open for him soon now.
Oh, they'll be sniffing around, no doubt.
Yeah, well, he can come back off the loan now. I know, that's Screech, wasn't it? We'll just change the paperwork to Dragons, whichever Dragons lock we want now.
We can have Screech back if you want. Although, to be fair, he did have a decent game on Saturday.
Screech is a perfectly good regional player.
He's a decent
But no, you can keep Lewis Jones.
Oh, that's a shame. Tame Basham had a good game
of the Ospreys.
Oh, yeah. Wainwright came off the bench and instantly gave us go forward, which was really pleasing to see. Kai Evans had a decent game. So, I thought we did all right against a big, strong powerful team. And, considering where the Bulls are, where the Dragons are, I thought it was going to get quite ugly at one point when it was 17-3. But, I spoke about it last night. I said this was the equivalent of Manchester City coming up against Sheffield United in the Premier League, So you've got to bear that in mind. And, Willie LaRue said after the game he was playing with the batch because he did set up those 2 tries. He said the Dragons played really well, so credit to them. They made it tough for us. But that's nice to hear. You want to hear that. We want to make it tough for teams to come to Rodney Parade. We're not going to beat these teams, but at least make them work for it. And you can't question the Dragons' spirit or attitude in this game. I mean, there have been some occasions, as you know, where I have questioned the work rate of the Dragons and I've questioned their attitude, in various games such as Cardiff, Sharks, Lions, Munster. But you couldn't knock their credit, you couldn't knock their spirit in this particular game. It was just the case that the Bulls were just too good and too powerful for them. So, plenty of positives to take from this game. The scoreline doesn't look like that, I know. It looks quite ugly, but I don't think the scoreline fully reflects the Dragons' efforts. So, onwards and upwards to a must-win against Zebra on Friday night.
Okay. So, James, are you just putting your hand up because you're bored, or...
No. So, this is that passage of play is the one bit of rugby I've seen, like, from your games this weekend, apart from your Edwin Swatch. I honestly, so Jamie messaged it to me earlier because we were talking about beef and banter, and I said I honestly counted around 9. I think it was genuinely about 9 penalties to the Dragons alone in that same passage of play.
Yeah.
And my issue, right, and this is where you'd argue about my beef is. I said this is the exact words I said to Jamie, was the URC does get a lot right. But the standard of refereeing has just seemed to have got worse as time has gone on. Right? Because Holly Davidson was pretty bad for us on Friday. I said all people want is accountability. I could deal with human error, right? I've been a referee. I deal with referees, as a prop, I deal with referees a lot, right? Trying to get the scrum safe and steady and things like I get human error, but when there's no acknowledgement of consistent error in judgment, right? That's when people get annoyed. And it's like I'm quoting a certain Scarlet Fever podcast who said that they're sick of referees doing analysis. And unintentional biases against Scarlets. But in a way, it is right because you come up against a team, right, like Scarlets this season, who have been poor scrummaging wise. You're in your back of your head is like, oh, that Kenzie Mathias, he gives away penalties at the scrum, so I'm going to look for that. Or just say Dragons give away a lot of penalties at the breakdown, right? Which is how that phase ended. Right, they're going to look at Dragons as a breakdown. Cardiff, they get red cards a lot, so they're, well, let's ping high tackles. When Kieran Parker tries to kill someone, Osprey's perfect, so we don't have to worry about that. But no, seriously,
you don't do anything.
No, exactly. There's just no accountability in the refereeing process, right? And I do not agree with the likes of Galtier. And Rassi calling out refs publicly. This is not what I'm doing. All I'm asking is that there is public acknowledgement of poor decisions like the one in the Dragons game that is a deliberate knock-on that should have at least been looked at, and the fact that it was not flagged by the TMO is a failing of the technology and the resources that modern referees have available.
Go on, Harley, and then I'll...
Just one point. Different league. I know it's not legally covered, but we had a similar thing in the Saracens Harlequins game in Premiership where there was a shoulder to head clear out, didn't get flagged up. Cardiff had a try. There was a potential where they could have looked back to see if there was grounding. Frank Murphy went no, can't be asked. But then that's Frank Murphy. The Frank giveth and the Frank taketh away. The one that really bothered me was the fact they didn't even look to check. Kai Evans had a near 50-22, and they didn't bother checking it. Willie LaRue does one, and again, it looked about it gone out in the same place, and they just said, "Oh no, it must be right."
Yeah, we talked about that on the pod as well.
Yeah. It's the one that got me is obviously Dragons got awarded a penalty for Which one was it? It wasn't Not. It was the other Lonsdale, was it? Yeah, Lonsdale.
Lonsdale, yeah.
Getting cleaned out behind the ball, and basically he pushes a guy off him. He reverses the penalty, and it was like, that would have been a great chance to, Dragons beat 10-6 then. And
I don't like talking about officiating. Like I said, I'm not that type of bloke. I don't do it on social media.
I hate it, and I find it bold, but I don't like it is this refereeing on reputation. They're just assuming that the better team is doing it, and it happens all the time. Lee, you must have been fed up of it. Scarlets and Cardiff both had it in the season where we'd had one game where we gave away a few penalties, and that was it. Then the ref was just constantly looking at you.
Scarlets have had official apologies from referees this season.
Yeah. But the bit for me, right, was the TMO was brought in to sort these issues out, and unfortunately, sorting these issues out takes a bit of time. Yeah, and we're now in this position where as soon as there's a delay of 30 seconds or more to do something, to review something, then people start getting narky and the commentators start giving it all of this and all that kind of stuff. I think we need to change something, take a little bit out of American football, where we go, right, 2-minute timeout. We're going to review this, 2-minute timeout. And you put entertainment on the pitch and you put adverts on the telly. Everyone's happy. More income, more dancy ladies, more dancy guys, whatever your taste is, crack on. And it gives the TMO time to say, actually, right, let's have a look at this and let's do it. And there's no pressure on this needs to be done inside 10 seconds. I don't think the issue is the referees. Referees are human, like we've all said. And I've been there as well, James. I've been a referee, and I've been on the pitch where you sit there and you look at the referee and you go, what the fuck was that decision? But if it's just the referee, they can only see what they can see. There's literally this viewing point here, and anything that they can't see there, they can't give. TMO has got none of that. And it's a TMO process that we need to improve. And they need to improve it really, really quickly. And the other bit I would change, again, taken from NFL, is we need a ref mic. We need, and even if it's not the ref there, but somebody at the end of that, let's say it's a 2-minute stoppage, well, the referee stands in the middle and they go 14 Dragons offside, overturned for a reaction, penalty Dragons.
We get stadium announcers to do it. I want to get Tabsy to do it at the Ospreys.
But
too good. 14 back, you're offside. Thank you.
But do you know what I mean? We need to think differently from it. The reason the TMO was brought in was not to speed the game up. It was to make these decisions accurate, and we're not making these decisions accurate. And we can see it. So
the other thing is when the TMO works best, right, is you hear it on TV. You'll hear check in the ear. And as players going on, you'd be like, right, Dorsey, what's up, mate? Got a shoulder over head for you to look at. Right, blow up. TMO, right, I've got foul play. Show it to me. Process works brilliantly there. You get the best referees when they think a try is scored or not scored, they go, right, Dorsey, I've got, for me, I've got on-field try. Do you have any evidence that it could be overturned? No, right, that's it. Well, the TMO works. It works brilliantly. What we've got to think of as a sport now is, right, when is that process used properly? Dangerous play and try, yes or no. It should also be every time, whenever there's a deliberate knock-on, I think. Because games are won and lost on it now.
But then you can call that any number of times. I think that it's not for us to make that decision here and now, but I think that there needs to be more thought about that TMO, but how that TMO process is used within the stadium, with Ontario, and there needs to be something. The last thing I want to have is Tom Shanklin prattling away for 2 minutes while they make a decision on the TMO, telling people how to scrummage. We need to do something different other than that. So,
can I just quickly add one more thing before we go on? Because Dave Flanagan did not blame the referee. I'll tell you what he actually said. I am not blaming the ref. It is a 4-man officiating team. He's on his own in the middle, and Ronnie Parade is quite intimidating. he needs help, doesn't he? It's
Yeah.
not his fault. And then what he actually said was, we knew it was going to be a giant effort to get anything, but all we hope for is ref what you see. I think that's pretty reasonable. I don't think he's calling anyone out, but he is right to express those concerns at those decisions. I think he did it the right way as well.
And Di Flanagan having a rant is kind of like, I'm not happy about that. I think that's as close to Di Flanagan having a rant as he's
Spectacularly ranted, according to Planet Rugby. It was no such spectacular
on his scale, that is.
On the Di Flanagan scale, a spectacular rant is really not very happy there.
I'm miffed.
I'm a little bit. It's a bit like the Father Ted thing with the protest. With the down with this, careful as you go now, easy there. That's Di Flanagan. He's too nice.
Yeah. Jamie does bring up a good point. We've basically said the ref and the TMO, the two touch judges, and these are usually, I mean, for us, not always, but a lot of the time, it is a qualified ref as well. So they should be able to pick. Like, a lot of people moan about things like offside or issues at the scrum. Sometimes they're called, but other times you've got some referees, I won't name names, about someone who just sort of decides which team's got the better scrum and then goes through Mr. Rayno. You get this issue, and it's like, yeah, all of you go, you should all be working together. I do agree. Super Rugby did it a few seasons ago. I don't know if they're still doing it because I'm not paying for Sky. But when they have a TMO decision, it's played through the speakers in the stadium, so you can hear it. And actually, one of the most useful things I've ever invested in is a ref mic for when I go to the Principality. Because actually, it's great because you're so far away from the action. Like on the TV, you can say, "Oh, yeah, it's that." You've got no idea why we'll. It's nice to know why I'm calling a referee a wanker.
Rugby League do it.
Yeah, but you can get those ref mics for the snooker at the Crucible. What the fuck is the point of a ref mic?
They are little radios, so you can tune them to other things. You can pick up like Classic FM.
Right, let's
FM.
Let's move on.
What else would you listen to at the snooker?
Let's move on to Scarlett's game, and you've done a very good job here, boys. So I will keep it very, very quick. Alex Craig was outstanding. Leatherbarrow was fantastic. There was a lot of stuff about was Leatherbarrow a 6. I think he showed he can play 6 and 7 on Saturday. Sam Costello got battered left, right, and centre again.
He got Nick Tompkins.
He did, and the amount of times I thought, oh, that's a nasty one. He's off. No, quick, get the magic sponge. Get your magic sponge out. Give him a rub on the chest. There you go. You're fine. So yeah, I thought he was fantastic. Commentators are making a lot about Johnny Williams and how he's given us go forward and this, that, and the other. Johnny Williams gave away 4, 5, 6 penalties, key times, just not what we needed at that time. And Foxy, we love seeing Foxy on the pitch. He's
shit.
Fans' favourite, but you need to be quick to play. He can probably get
watching him play now.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably get away with playing 12 sometimes, but 13 he was just exposed and properly exposed. So yeah, it is a bit like he's such a big presence within the squad and within the team and within the whole setup. When he goes and does community events, it's full. People want to go and see him. They want to go and get their photo. They want to go and get his signature and all that kind of stuff. So, I totally get making the most of him while he's there, but we missed a massive opportunity. We put Eddie James on at 72 minutes, and you've got one of the biggest, fastest, most exciting inside centres in Welsh rugby that's itching to get on the pitch, and you give him 8 minutes at the end. So that's my only real criticism from there, that it was, we could, I think we had 3 or 4 opportunities in that game that we probably could have converted if we'd have been a little bit more sharper, a little bit more clinical. But, the reality was there was one missed tackle and they got over the line. And I said last week, all I'm looking for is an improvement in defence. And in all honesty, that defensive system is starting to work. And, you know, I saw a comment on our social media that says, who remembers the days when we used to decide how much we would beat Benetton by? So, yeah, but like 2013, 2014, you know, those days are gone. And I think that's half the problem at the minute, that we've got this expectation of arrogance that we should be beating these sides, we should be putting away, and we're not putting the hard work in. And that side on Saturday actually put the hard work in. I was chuffed that we had the confidence to go for the kicks. You know, take the points, take the 3 points, wait till we get back within striking distance, and then go for it. On those last couple of minutes, oh my god! Because both of the dogs are hiding behind the sofa. My daughter was revising upstairs. She came down to check that I was okay because I was shouting at the time. I think the next door neighbour moved out at one point, but yeah, I think we 3 opportunities in those last 5 minutes to win that game. And then, so there are 2 bits in that game that I don't get. Schwartz got man of the match.
He was only on the 75 minutes with it.
He came on, threw the ball in twice, scored a try, and then they went, "You're man of the match." And after the game, he went, I held on to the ball and fell over the line. I don't really feel like I deserve man of the match. You know, that was his thing.
Who gave that then, Lee? Was it Gwyn Jones from SOC? Who gave that man of the match?
I don't know. It might have been Priestland. I don't know.
It was Gwyn Jones.
Was it?
It was it?
Andrew Ford said
that's such a Gwyn
Jones
thing, isn't it?
It was like, because he scored. I mean, like, come on, boys. But yeah, there was this other incident, this really, really weird incident where, so Fafita goes down, and I thought that was his ankle gone because his face was in all sorts of pain. But then you see this elbow just completely wipe him out as he's going down. But I thought, oh, that's it, that's game done. And I thought that's Fafita done for the season. Just looking at the way he went down over that ankle. He goes off, and we bring on Tuipulotu. Tuipulotu actually had a half-decent kind of 10, 15 minutes while he was on the pitch. And then Tuipulotu goes back off, and Fafita comes back on. And then they have another couple of minutes, and I think Fafita went off, and Tuipulotu came back on again. And for the love of me, I'm sitting there going like, I had no idea what's going on. I just got...
That describes you in rugby anyway, Lee.
You're just sitting there, make a decision, boys. Is he on? Is he off? Who's doing what? Apparently, Fafita went off for a HIA, and then Tuipulotu came on. So then they reversed that, and then he went off again but there was a blood injury as well. Fucked if I know. Anyway, that was the only confusing bit on that.
One thing I did, because I don't know if Catboy's going to nick it when you do Scarlets later on, but Benetton only scored in 1 9-minute period. They had their first points at 10 minutes, and their last points came at 19 minutes. For that, you kept them pointless, which actually I think, talking about your defense being improved, is a huge testament to that.
Yeah.
So I've shat on the Scarlets a lot this season. I just wanted to say I wanted to give them praise when it was due.
I think the frustrating bit is having other supporters going, oh, why aren't we putting 25, 30 points past them? You go, fucking hell, boy.
That's a lack of knowledge, though, isn't it?
Benetton got 6 million off the Italian Rugby Union.
Yeah.
What's the IRFU? Plus, fucking cheating bastards.
Yeah, no. Anything to make Wales pass. Anything to make the FIR, sorry. Got the wrong acronym. Yeah. But that's before all their sponsorship and stuff, and they've probably got another 3-4 million in sponsorship which they can put into players and coaching. So they've got a point now where their first team is basically the Italians back and the Italian squad. Their second 15 are all international quality players. You know, Jacob Amungu is seen as one of the next big things. Andy Uran is somehow a competent player after
Malachi Fekitoa.
Malachi Fekitoa is brilliant there, was abject for Munster. You got Pasquale, you got Italian and Argentinian props. Albinaz at 10, is another 10, is absolutely fantastic. I love him. I don't know why the fuck they're persisting with Santi Carreras, who is a fullback, but they still want to put him at 10 because rugby is weird.
So,
but yeah, it's you're not going to have a 20-30 point win over Benetton anymore.
No.
We
They're a
certainly
good
are,
team.
And the
They're a good
league
team.
is better for it. And actually, I think having a couple of kick-ins earlier in the season has, made us a better side. It's made us take action a bit quicker, and we'll come on to predictions and all that kind of stuff going forward. But it's the first time we're actually going into a game feeling positive about anything.
I have one thing to say about Scarlets, and it's I think you'll agree with me with somebody, is you talked about no, genuinely, you talked about if Hardy leaves, right?
Mm.
So you've got Gareth Davis, Archie Hughes, and the bald one, right? Is it Evan Jones?
Evan
Jones, right? Logic says that next year your starting scrum half is Archie Hughes with Gareth Davis behind. Right?
Yeah.
That's what logic should say, right?
Yeah.
Because I think he's just about gotten away with giving Archie enough minutes this year to be like, let's now fully invest in you. You be my 9 next year. Exactly the same with Eddie James, right? At 12. Johnny Williams probably is off, right? And you said, right, Eddie James, you're our starting 12 now. Let's take Joe Roberts out of the equation for a second.
Yeah.
Eddie James, you're my starting 12. I don't trust Peel to do that. And I said, me and Hugh talk about this every week, is he's not placed the faith in the right times, right? You said Eddie James got 8 minutes on the weekend, or was it 11 minutes because the game finished on 83 minutes? Right, that's not enough. He needs to be playing more in that game.
Oh, I completely agree, mate. What I'm disappointed at is the fact that you and Hugh spend more time talking to each other than you do your own partners. And I think that's the disappointing thing there, mate, that you need to get a life and
he
get a
messaged
life
me
or get
about
a...
it. He messaged me about it. But no, it's right though. I don't trust Peel to do that. He's very much, I want my little 38-year-old safety blankets. And they're not safety blankets because they're falling apart and stuff keeps fucking falling through them.
Yeah, and I agree, mate. Anyway, so we're going to leave that one there because we're going to do what we always do and go over time and all of that kind of stuff. So, given that we've done last week's reviews of the games, and Harley, you asked us to do a quick update on where we are with prediction leagues. It's been a while because I haven't updated it for a couple of weeks because I've been busy. So, in first place still is Harley on 117 points, even after quite a poor weekend by your standards. Harley, you had two where you were best predictor and 2 where you were worst predictor. So, Jamie, you are now 9 points behind Harley. At one point, you were 2 points behind Harley. You're now 9 points behind Harley. You had a fairly standard, you had 2 first places and 2 third places on the weekend. James, no, I'm in third place. I'm on 91 points. I had 3 second places on the weekend, and then James, you're on 88 points. At one point, me and you were level. We were equally shit, and now I'm just a little bit less shit than you. So you're on 88 points. I'm on 91. Jamie on 108, and Harley on 117. So if anybody wants to know how our predictions game works, don't ask me, because fuck it. I genuinely yesterday I did the scores for it yesterday and got them the wrong way around. And I went down and I went, I'm fairly sure Harley should still be in the lead here. How come Jamie's just overtaken him? Fuck, I've done it the wrong way. So
do you like the messages put in the spreadsheet?
What have you done now? I knew you'd see. No, I can't see because I've got it on a shrink screen so I can focus on this one. What have you done?
So obviously we got a couple of rounds of games, and on the 4th and 5th of May it says Europe, and I've just put lol, you fuckers don't have a European game.
That's why I deleted that one, mate. We're not, the rest of us not
Yeah, I
interested
mean,
in
let's
that.
be fair. An Ospreys knockout European game, yeah, that's something to shout about because you win so
There's
many
no
of
pod that
those.
week, is there?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a pod that week.
It'll be
Just
a
be me on my own
Cancelled.
crying.
We're gonna review the Women's Six Nations that week.
Yeah. Right. Let's look at it.
Unless Ospreys win, then I will be the most unbearable motherfucker you
And then
ever
the pod's
come
cancelled
across.
for life.
Yeah. There'll
Let us know
just
when you
be,
win a European trophy.
there'll be you and 3 blank screens, mate. And then
You won the Challenged Cup.
What are you playing in at the moment?
Best one.
Yeah, shut your face.
let's
I
move
worked out well
on.
through James, didn't I?
Let's move on to this week's predictions then, gents. So, yeah, Jamie, Dragons v Zebra. Like, I mean, you can't underestimate how big a game this is for the Dragons, really, can you?
This is the game of the weekend, the game of the URC, Dragons versus Zebra, the basement battle. The game against Bulls was pretty much a free hit because nobody was expecting Dragons to get anything out of that game. So the result is pretty relevant, really. This week, the result is very relevant, I should say. This is a must-win. There's absolutely no doubt about that. The results went against us on the weekend. Sharks won. They beat Ulster. Obviously, Scarlets got that lucky win against Benetton. So if you look at the table now, it's quite tight at the bottom. So Dragons are 16th, they're on 11 points. Zebra are in 15th, they're on 14 points. The Sharks are on 14 points, they're in 14th. And the Scarlets are now on 16 points, and they're in 13th. So there's kind of a very tight battle going on there. So Dragons are going to have to win this game because I think this game on Friday could decide who finishes bottom of the URC. So there's no excuses. Dragons have got to play the strongest team. I expect the likes of Aaron Wainwright and Elliot to be starting. Elliot, the real Dyer. I expect him because he was rested against the Bulls, so I expect him to come straight into the team. No excuses. It's a must-win game. It is a big game. It's not going to be a pretty game because it never is between these two teams. You know, it is a dogfight. It's a basement battle, but yeah, we've got to go there. We've got to front up now. We got to win this game because I think if we don't, then I think there'll be Dragons rooted to the bottom of the URC for the rest of the league. So yeah, big game, big game.
And your score prediction for that game then?
So our score prediction, mine and Gavin's on the Dragons Layer pod was Dragons by 8, which could bite us in the backside, but I think we have just enough quality in this team. I would like to see Dimitri Arhip involved as well. So that'll be good if he's there. I think that'll give us a bit of go forward in the scrum. I would go with 6-2 split as well. We went 6-2 against the Bulls. I would do the same again for Zebra. You know, I'd try and overpower them. Yeah, I try and go that way. But yeah, my prediction is Dragons by 8. I'm not confident, mind, but I'm going Dragons by 8 because we should have enough to beat them. I think if this game was in Parma, it'd be very different because we haven't won in Parma for 3 years.
You've already done that.
Hey?
You've already been to Parma this year, isn't it?
That was in Europe. We
So
played them in the
same
Challenge Cup and we lost, yeah. But I mean, if this game was being played out in Parma in the URC, I think we wouldn't win because it is become a difficult place to go. But at home, with everyone available, I think we should get this done. So I'm saying Dragons by 8.
I love the fact that you've thrown Gavin there. Just well, if I get it wrong this week, it's because I listen to Gav. So you know.
No,
yeah.
we both said Dragons by 8. If I'm going down, Gav's going down with me. That's all I'm saying.
Right, Harley, would you like to justify your call?
Yeah, I know Zebra are very good. Especially they should have beaten Cardiff, but I'm going Dragons by 4 purely because I think I saw enough in that performance against the Bulls that I feel like Zebra aren't going to be as physical. They'll still be physical, but they're no means walkovers. But I think there's enough there that I could see Dragons winning, and I think about 4 seems about right for that sort of game. But I think whoever loses is going to get a bonus point out of it. But the one thing that'd be interesting is if it follows typical Dragons versus Zebra games or typical Zebra games this season where there's a lot of tries scored, which could be quite interesting.
So you're
I do agree.
going.
This probably is the most interesting of the 4 games.
So you're going Dragons by 4. So I'm gonna go Dragons by 2. I think it'll be. I think you're right, Jim. I think you'll just batter them up front, and I just think the games when you tend to batter them up front just tend to take a bit of a while to actually get the scoreboard moving. But I think that is the way to beat them, is up front. So yeah, I'm going Dragons by 2. I think it'll be close game, but that's my call. So James, your call on the Dragons?
Dragons by 6. I think it'll be a high scoring, like a 36-30. They'll just be batshit. But all the pressure's on the Dragons, yeah, for me.
Okay.
They are in dire need for a win. So Dragons by 6.
Dragons by 6. Okie dokie. So then sticking with you, Ospreys versus Lions. Give us your rundown on that one.
It's tough to say. We beat them once already this season in their own backyard, but they're a bloody good team, and they just whooped Connacht away, and that's a no. You don't. Not many people go to Connacht away and put scores up like that. Whether they got Connacht on an off day, I don't know. I haven't watched the game. Yeah, I'm nervous for this one. Very nervous. The last couple of games against the Lions, the last game against the Lions at home was close. I think we drew, maybe, or we lost by like 2. That we can eke penalties at the Lions. We know this. They give away a lot of penalties. They did away in the Challenge Cup. They did the last time they came to the .com. So if we can eke penalties, a bit like how we did against Munster, I think we have a shot. Nicky Smith is fine apparently. I expect to see Gareth Thomas and Alan Beard back. Obviously, no Cuthbert, Max Nagy hopefully back in. So I'm going Ospreys by 1, taking a page out of Lee's book. Because quite frankly, we have, if we want any chance of making the playoffs, we have to win this game with the bonus point. Which I think the playoff dream is dead personally. I just think the results around the league will just keep going against us. But I'm going to go Ospreys by 1.
Ospreys by 1. Okay.
I've already filled mine in.
Yeah, I've just seen what you filled in, Saki fucker. We'll come to that next. So, Jamie, what's your call, mate?
The Lions are a good team. I think a lot of people underestimate the Lions. They are a very dangerous team. And like James was saying earlier, I watched the highlights of them at Connacht. They put 38 points on them and they tore Connacht to shreds. So Ospreys want to be very careful because this team will cause damage. However, I am going to back the Ospreys to win this purely because they are at home. It is a must-win game. Will they get that bonus point? I'm not sure, but I'm going to go Ospreys by 4 points. I think they'll do just enough to get the job done.
Okay, fantastic. Harley?
I'm going Ospreys by 6. I think with the they're the side who came out of the Six Nations the strongest out of the 4, because they basically end up with a load of injured players come back. And that's been a huge boost. They're going to get Gareth Thomas back, I think. Yeah, as good as the Lions have been, I think where they really damage teams are up front. They're a very underrated pack. I know their backline's electric, but I think Ospreys have got a pack that'll beat pretty much, can beat out pretty much anyone else in the league. So yeah, I think they should be. I mean, Booth Babe should be able to handle anyone.
Okay, so you've gone Ospreys by 6. So I've gone Lions by 5. I think the baby bubblers burst with the Ospreys. I think there's a couple of injuries that have started coming at just the wrong time, and I think the Lions, they're going to have a week in camp, a good week in camp now, in between Connacht and
Who's injured?
George North, Cuthbert. One of your centres was a little bit iffy. So you're looking at, yeah, you are, man.
Look his face.
He wasn't, but okay.
Don't give me,
He wasn't, but okay.
facts. Yeah. I just
Can we
think
screenshot that and make that the thing for the
Don't
post?
see about
Yeah.
fucking iffy centres when you're playing a fucking geriatric West Walian.
who isn't injured. Who gives a fuck? So
Keep playing like it.
So anyway, I just think that a week in camp. I think the Lions are on a bit of a roll at the minute, unfortunately, and yeah, I think you might catch the arse end of it on Saturday. Is it Friday or Saturday? Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. It's Dragons
3
Friday.
kickoff on Saturday.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So yeah, Lions by 5 for me on that one. So Scarlets, I think this might be the start of something special, boys. I think one game and that's it. We're on
Ding,
the
ding,
road.
ding, ding, ding. My prediction was correct. He said the words.
No, I think it's probably the first game this year where we can actually take confidence from the game before. Even when the Cardiff games, it just didn't feel like it felt that we'd won, but we'd kind of scraped there. Whereas that game, there was actually a bit of dog, there was a bit of fight in there, and yeah, we keeping the feet on the floor and showing that we can actually do stuff. I think Glasgow showed on the weekend that they can be beaten. They can be a little bit vulnerable. Maybe the heights of third in the table is starting to get to them, and they're starting to panic. And maybe the wind will just blow the arse end off everyone on Saturday. Who knows? But I'm going Scarlets by 2. So we've. Yes. I saw that, Jamie.
You're twice as confident as last week.
Exactly. I've had enough for this Scarlets by 1 malarkey. Scarlets by 2 this week. I just hope that more people turn up. I genuinely do. I know the weather's meant to be shit and all that kind of stuff, but let's get there and make a bit of noise. Bring the drums. Fuck's sake, somebody bring a drum and beat the drum for crying out loud.
Fucking drums.
Yeah, I love my drums. Right, Jamie, let's have your prediction. Scarlets, Glasgow, mate.
Well, look, Scarlets had a good win. Don't get me wrong, it was a very good and important win. But they are playing Glasgow, who are a very, very good side at the moment. Franco Swift doing a great job, and one swallow doesn't make a summer. So I am going to go for Glasgow by 9 points. I think they'll be too strong for the Scarlets.
0.9. I'm going to do some damage in the prediction league next week, boys. Oh, it's a raw. Right, go on, James. Go on, have your funny moment. On mute. Well done. You're on mute. Still on mute.
There we go.
Go on,
I was
Dallas.
typing in the actual thing. I wrote cancellation in the spreadsheet, and I'm hoping it still stays that way, to be honest. No, Glasgow I'm going to go Glasgow by 7. Yeah, I agree with Jamie. I'm not overly convinced that you've turned a corner. I need to see the evidence. I like Leatherbarrow. I've always said that. I think he's great. Liked him at University Rugby. Alex Craig, I've always said, is a solid URC lock, despite what some child in Scarlet's Twitter thinks. God, that kid rattles me.
He's got your buttons pressed.
He does me every time. Every time I see his Twitter handle, I go into incandescent rage. But I think that you will get muscled by Glasgow. I think it'll be very similar to the Edinburgh game that you played at Park Scarlets. I think you'll show flashes, but you will just get out muscled, and then Glasgow will play with their slippers on.
Okay. So you got Glasgow by 7, and Harley.
Glasgow by 6. I think they're going to have a few more internationals coming in. I don't think Scarlets are necessarily going to get any stronger than they were against Benetton. They should be reeling after that performance against Cardiff. He basically nullified them at all time. And I think that's going to hurt, and I think they come after you. But that's it. And I reckon Scarlets can be good for a few bullshit tries to make it
Bullshit tries.
Tries to
What
tries,
are the
mate.
bullshit
close.
tries?
That is their
Ospreys, you mean?
best sign.
Whoa! I was going to say, did you say trays are trays? You've been saying I was been scored by accident all year.
Oh,
Bullshit
okay.
tries.
So I just
They all
gotta
count
put.
the same on the scoreboard unless it's a penalty try because the URC doesn't include them in the tries that,
Yeah.
which has been a pain in the arse when we've been trying to do some stuff.
So your prediction is Glasgow
Glasgow
by
by
6.
6.
Okay, cool. So sticking with you then and finishing the weekend off with Munster versus Car, which is late on Saturday, isn't it? You're the
It's
late
going to be the
kickoff.
same time as Scarlets Glasgow because for
Yeah.
some reason the URC seem to think that people who watch one Welsh region won't watch any of the others, so we'll put those games on the same time again.
I'd have played on Easter Sunday. Fuck them. Go on, anyway, so
I'm playing on Good Friday, you know.
Yeah, your rundown on Munster versus Cardiff, mate.
So I'm going to be optimistic because, well, I say optimistic. I'm still predicting Munster by 6. But, it's going to be another losing bonus point because we love them losing bonus points. And next year, the world, so much pride. I think we're gonna get a few more of our Wales boys back. It looks like Azarati and Dobachowski could be coming, which will shore up the front row a bit. Alex Mann, I think, is due back. Obviously, we won't have Thomas because that bastard Ross Vincent broke him, and he will forever be the scourge, and I'll hate him forever. Grr. Can you see the passion and the anger?
Have you aggressive that, Harley?
You've been to Dave
Yeah,
Flanagan's school, haven't you?
So you'd fit right in the Cardiff pack.
I'll be honest. You should see me at ruck time. I probably would fit in the Cardiff pack. I think Munster. I'm just sort of hoping they've been suffering a bit of a second season syndrome. They're sort of languishing towards the bottom. I don't see us winning because going over. I think actually they're giving us the respect of us going to Thomond Park this time. Normally we end up in Cork and Musgrave Park and
Virgin Media Musgrave Park.
Virgin Media Musgrave Park. Oh, So I don't think it's be a pretty game. I think we're going to get quite battered. I like Jamie. I'd quite like to see us try out 6-2. I think it can work quite well for Cardiff if we use our back. And the thing is, we don't use our back replacements anyway because Matt Albury's been sat on the bench, which is far too close to the action, if you ask me. I think we'd be better off with that lettuce that outlasted Trust. So
No
that's
comment.
me. I think everyone else is going to be a little bit less positive about Cardiff.
Okay, so you've got Munster by 6 in. So James,
Munster by 17.
Okay.
Just don't see you competing at all. And as I tagged the Cardiff pod in earlier, Munster have got their Irish cohort back available for selection.
All 3 of them.
I don't know. A lot of them are. Peter O'Malley's back. He's good for punching someone.
Okay. So you got Munster by 17. Jamie?
Yeah.
I think Cardiff can cause Munster a lot of problems. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win, but I do think they will cause Munster a few problems, especially in attack. The one thing I was really surprised with Cardiff, I got to say, against Glasgow, they were very good maul defence. Now, Glasgow get a lot of tries through Johnny Matthews, and there was a number of times where they neutralised that. So I think Cardiff are going to have to do the same again against Munster. So the defence is going to have to be spot on. But I do think Munster will win by about 9 points. But I can see Cardiff scored a couple of tries and put them under pressure.
So Munster by 9, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, Munster by 9.
I've gone Munster by 12 because it looks like a nice number. And that's it. We're job done. Right. Okay. Harley, do you want to just quickly run through it? So last week's best 15 was a frigging nightmare, mate. It was an absolute trying to pick like one from I give up. I didn't actually put
I got abuse from Connacht fans for picking Connacht players because they were injured. I was like, well, they just had to be playing. I never said they had to be playing that weekend anyway. I was like, can you at least give us yours? Catboy deciding oh, I support Super Rugby, so I'm just going to pick a Scarlets 15. It's like that's not even Dwayne Peel's best 15 for Scarlets players. Piss off. I thought it was a really good exercise. I saw a couple of decent ones, but
yeah, you were really excited for it.
There.
You were really excited going into Friday.
I thought, let's give people a bit of a mental challenge. Let's go for some. So,
there's your issue, mate. It was Twitter we were on, and you're giving people a mental challenge.
Do you know what? This week you gave me a good idea, but you don't deserve it. You can have fun. No, do a fucking 15 of biscuits or something. I don't fucking care anymore.
So so this week's best 15 is best 15 people that sound like a biscuit. I just want to get that right. Is this correct, Harley?
No. 50. Make a 15 of biscuits and justify why each biscuit is in each position, because that's what you fucking deserve, you bastards.
Oh, Golden Bennett. Right, okay. I'm gonna slightly amend. I'm gonna pull rank here, Harley, and I'm gonna slightly amend.
I'll give the proper one.
No. We're doing the top
I'll 15. Do the proper one.
We're doing the best 15 players that sound like a biscuit. That's what. So if anybody out there's called McVitie,
Tito Garibaldi's gonna have to do an awful lot of lifting.
It's gonna be a lot of stuff there. Right. Gents, thank you very much for your time again this evening. It's been a pleasure as always. We are available in all the usual places. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, we are 3 subscriptions away from me doing a Beyonce dance for everybody.
Please don't subscribe. Everyone unsubscribe now. Please. I'm unsubscribing.
Please do rate, review, and share us with your mates, because it does make a massive difference to what we're doing. And none of us are getting paid for this, guys. But this isn't BBC. We are just doing this for, I would say, out of the love of it. But sometimes that's pushing it a little bit, isn't it? So
sometimes it feels like being fueled by my own boiled piss.
Feels like I'm on an episode of Porridge constantly.
Right. So, gents, thank you very much for your time. All the best. Enjoy your rugby, and good night. All the best.
See you all.
Ta-ra.
Bye.